Hi class, we need to take a look at function evaluations. So for all these problems, they're going to give us a function and then they're going to want us to find a specific x or y values. So for this one, let me just do A here. For problem A, we're given a function. So in this case on A, and they want us to find p of -3. And what we're going to do here is the following. So technically, whatever value you're given for the c, it's going to be plugged in, and then we're going to simplify the right-hand side. So in this case, p of -3 represents technically -3 squared plus the value of -3. And in this case, after the function evaluation, we do leave the p on the left-hand side. I'll write it on the final portion. So here we're going to get 9 plus technically -3, or the values of 6. And then as our final answer, we're going to rewrite it as p of -3 is equal to 6. For this problem, +6. That's our final answer. I do want to make you aware that some problems, they're going to want them as x and y, which technically here it means for -3, the mapping is 6. Remember that you have x's and y's. So here, well, your x is going to be technically a c value. And then what you're obtaining here, it's a p. But for the majority of problems, we're going to have x's and y's. I'm putting it in quotation marks because even though this represents a c value, for this one, if they want it as a coordinate point, they would want it as a c comma p, which actually represents -3 comma final answer is 6. They're not asking for the coordinate points though. So all of these are x's and y's, or in this case, they're a little bit confusing. It's c comma p's. Okay, so that's actually A, and the other portions are not asked on the problem. So that's why I just wanted to give you the perspective of what if they did. Now, B, it's going to be a little bit more complex because of what we're given. So we're given that P of C is equal to 2, which actually means that 2 is equal to c squared plus c, which we end up with a quadratic, which I'm just going to subtract and end up with the following. This is going to be that 0, it's equal to c squared plus c minus 2, or 0 is equal to, and since you have a quadratic, one possibility is to factor this one. So you could say that this is c and c, and then the factors are going to be plus 2 minus 1. And let me just check these on the side. So if we were to do the FOIL, this is going to be technically c plus 2 times c minus 1. If you multiply these to these two, you would end up with, well, that would be a c squared minus a c, and then multiplying the 2 times these two, plus a 2c minus 2, which will give us c squared plus c minus 2, which technically is the original polynomial. Now, after we set it equal to 0, then we would basically use the zero factor property, which says that, well, c plus 2 is equal to 0, or c minus 1 is equal to 0. And then you solve each of these. So subtract 2, so plus 1, which you end up with c is equal to -2, or c is equal to 1. Which means on this one that the only values that when you evaluate P of C, that which will give you 2, it's going to be for -2 and 1. That's it for problem B. Let's move on to the next problem, which is a slightly different equation that it's given us. In this case, they're giving us a square root. And let me just do here on the side f of 7. which is going to be the square root. And technically, you have an x plus 2. So this will be 7 plus 2, or square root of 9, which is equal to 3. And in this case, f of 7 is equal to 3. That's our final answer. If they wanted it as an x and a y, or as a coordinate point, then we would write it as, in this case, x's and y's. Your x value is 7, your output is 3. That would be the main answer. And then for B, let me do this one on the side. We're given that f of x is equal to 4, and this is equal to the square root of x plus 2. So we're gonna actually solve this problem. Actually, let me write it with dotted lines. And our first step is going to be to actually square both sides to cancel the square root. And this is going to give us a 16, which is equal to x plus 2. And then we'll subtract the 2. And we're looking at 14 is equal to x, or x is equal to 14. And that would be our final answer for part B. And let me just label this. This was part A, this is B. And then on the other one, the other one I just forgot to label B. That's actually it for these two. I'll put the other two problems on a different video.